In the near future, a massive solar flare wipes out the ozone layer, turning Earth into a total wasteland where no one can live. Crazy weather starts hitting everywhere across the globe, and anything living gets fried by the sun's UV rays unless they stay hidden in the shade. 15 years after that flare, an engineer named Finch is out with his little robot buddy, Dewey, searching for supplies. To survive those UV rays, he has to wear a special suit that covers him head to toe and beeps whenever the radiation gets too high. While Finch hums a little song, the two of them raid a store, grabbing whatever they can find, even dog food. There are bodies all over the floor, but they just walk past him. Once they're done, Finch marks the building so he won't waste time checking an empty spot later on. After that, Finch hops in his truck and uses a map he's been filling out to navigate through a ghost town buried in sand. Since there's nobody around, Finch doesn't care about smashing cars out of the way with the truck. Suddenly, his suit starts beeping, warning him about a massive storm coming, so he tries to floor it and get out of there. After ramming through a few cars, he manages to escape the city just in time. He soon gets back to his underground lab, which actually used to be the aerospace energy company where he used to work. The storm is right on his heels, but Finch drags Dewey inside and moves fast to seal the place up before they get swept away. Once they're safe, Finch gives his suit and Dewey a deep cleaning. Then he hits the shower. Suddenly, he starts coughing, showing that he's slowly dying from all that radiation exposure. Once everything is cleaned up, Finch goes into the part of the lab he turned into an apartment and gets a big welcome from his dog Goodyear. He shares a bunch of hugs and kisses. Goodyear digs into the dog food Finch found, but Finch just has a drink because he's running low on food. He puts today's hole in the fridge and stares longingly at a can of peaches, but he tells himself to save it for a special occasion. Later, Finch gets to work on his main project, building a humanoid robot to look after Goodyear after he's gone. A robot arm grabs books from a library and feeds them into a scanner, which uploads all that knowledge into a database for the robot's brain. He only stops to throw a ball for Goodyear, who is more than happy to play. Later that evening, Finch reads a book about radiation and gets pretty upset when he realizes he's almost out of time. Instead of sleeping, he stays up to finish the robot before it's too late. He's almost done with the head, but he's missing eyes, so he takes Dewey's and promises to replace them later. When he finally turns the robot on, it can't talk yet, but it can nod when Finch asks it questions. Finch is super excited and immediately fixes the voice box, which lets the robot finally speak, though it makes Goodyear bark his head off. The robot picks the name Jeff and shows off all the random facts he knows from the books Finch scanned, but he also has to follow the rules Finch programmed into him, like never hurting a person. The most important one is the fourth directive. He has to protect Goodyear at all costs once Finch is gone. Suddenly, the power goes out. Finch has to head outside to fix the wind turbine while Jeff tries to make friends with Goodyear, but the dog just pees on Jeff's leg. At that moment, Finch sees a monster storm coming, so he rushes back in and hooks Jeff up to the weather station. It turns out 4 different storms are going to collide in the next 24 hours, creating a superstorm that'll last about 40 days. There's no way they'll survive that, so Finch decides they have to pack up and leave right now. While finally eating that can of peaches and ignoring his bloody nose, he checks his map and sees their only shot is heading west to San Francisco. He finishes building Jeff's body and ramps up the data transfer, which isn't great because the data only gets to 72%, but they're out of time. The head gets attached to the body, and Jeff successfully stands up for the first time. Finch starts teaching him how to walk, which makes Goodyear bark even more. Jeff falls a few times, but he eventually gets the hang of it. After that, Finch packs up everything they need, plus his collection of postcards. Dewey keeps running into things, so Finch uses a security camera to give him some new eyes. Then the whole gang piles into an RV and hits the road. During the drive, they see how the world has turned into a desert, and Finch tells them stories about the days when there were actually wildflowers and bees. Jeff has something loose inside his head, so when they reach a new town, Finch stops to fix him. While Finch is working, Jeff looks through the postcards and notices Finch kept one of San Francisco in a special spot. It was sent by his uncle. Jeff likes the one of Sydney and wants to go there, but since it's way too far, he agrees to be excited about seeing the Golden Gate Bridge instead. Are done, Finch says they're going out to scavenge, and Dewey is bummed out because Finch is taking Jeff this time. As they walk, Finch teaches Jeff the basics of scavenging, and they eventually find an old movie theater. The door's chained up, but Jeff is so strong he just rips the whole door off. Inside, Jeff is amazed to see himself in a mirror for the first time, and Finch is stoked to find a bag of popcorn. He takes it outside and opens it to show Jeff that the sun is so hot it pops the corn in seconds. Their fun moment is cut short when they see a storm coming. They immediately head back to the RV and flee the city, but the storm is catching up fast. Their only option is to find shelter, so Finch gets Jeff to help him tie the RV down with cables. Finch gets tired really fast because of his sickness, so Jeff sends him inside while he finishes the job. Goodyear is tucked away in a cabinet, and Finch covers the windows before calling for Jeff, who finishes the last wire and dives into the RV just as the storm hits. The RV shakes like crazy, and Finch and Jeff do their best to hold on to. The furniture as the cable starts snapping one by one until only one is left. After a few minutes of intense shaking, the storm passes and they all step outside. Finch notices the last cable standing was the one Jeff tied down, but he also sees a tire is blown out. They have a spare, and Jeff uses his strength to lift the RV so Finch can change the tire. They spend the night there to get some rest, and the next morning, they open the solar panels to keep moving. Jeff barks back at Goodyear, thinking he's learning the language, but Finch explains it's going to take time for the dog to trust him. Later, on the road, Jeff asks, what exactly is trust? Finch doesn't really know how to explain something that deep, so he tells a story instead. At his first job, he worked with a team of lazy guys to finish a project. Finch fixed a software issue all by himself, but gave the whole team credit to win their trust. But Jeff doesn't get the point. He says Finch's problem was that he didn't trust them to begin with. The talk is cut short when Finch starts coughing uncontrollably, so he stops at a roadside restaurant. To take a break, he parks the RV in the shade and rushes into the restaurant without his suit, only to start coughing up blood. Suddenly, he hears barking and sees that Goodyear won't let Jeff take him out, so Finch has to grab the leash and bring the dog in himself after telling Jeff to guard the RV. While Finch tries to have a moment with Goodyear, Jeff tries to figure out how to work the RV. He manages to play some music, and then he tries to drive it, but he accidentally hits another car. Finch hears it and rushes out, and Goodyear follows him, almost stepping into the sunlight. Luckily, Finch stops him just in time. Then Finch lays into Jeff for what he did and tells him to move the RV back, but Jeff ends up hitting a pillar. Furious, Finch puts his hand under the sun for a few seconds to show him how bad it burns. He yells at Jeff to grow up and reminds him that his whole job is to take care of Goodyear. Back on the road, Finch sees Jeff is feeling down, so he decides to give him a chance and teach him how to drive the right way. At first, Jeff is pretty clumsy and hits some rocks, but he soon gets the hang of it and drives like a pro.
When night falls, they stop and watch the northern lights, which are easy to see now since the ozone layer is gone. Jeff wonders why they don't drive at night, so Finch explains it's dangerous because desperate, starving people hide in the shadows. The next morning, Jeff hears Goodyear barking and rushes to check on Finch, who is throwing up and shivering. Jeff looks after him and lets him rest while he takes over the driving. Eventually, they hit another city, so Jeff asks Goodyear to stay with Finch while he and Dewey go looking for supplies. They go into a hospital, but there's not much there. Jeff tells Dewey to watch the door while he looks upstairs. Neither of them sees that someone is watching them from the shadows. Jeff finds some medicine and a jacket that he puts on. He also finds a cabinet full of good stuff. Downstairs, Dewey finds some food, but when he goes to grab it, he walks right into a bear trap that completely destroys him. Meanwhile, Finch wakes up and realizes the robots are gone. He knows they're in trouble, so even though he's weak, he puts on his suit and goes after him. He's heartbroken to find Dewey in pieces and turns him off to end his suffering. Then he sees someone moving and gets ready to fight, but it's just Jeff in his new coat.
Finch scolds him for not realizing the place was a trap. They hear noises nearby and start running. At the stairs, Finch collapses, but they hear the noises getting closer, so Jeff helps him up and they run out. As soon as they get to the RV, they floor it, not noticing a car following them. Hours later, once it's dark, Finch finally spots the car tailing them. Since Jeff is driving and can see in the dark, they kill the lights, but the car is still there. They try to speed up, and Finch sees an underpass up ahead, so he steers the RV off the road. Jeff tries to tell him the RV is too tall for the underpass, but Finch is panicking and keeps going, trying to hide under it. Jeff was right, and the underpass rips the solar panels off, so Jeff has to use his strength to push the RV until it's totally hidden. They wait in total silence for the car to pass, and Jeff sees that Finch has a gun for protection. Luckily, the car goes away, and Finch steps out to see the damage, blaming himself for the mess.
Since he can't fix it, he's sure they'll never make it to San Francisco. Jeff tries to comfort him, but Finch snaps at him. Jeff doesn't give up and follows him inside to tell him he believes in him, which leads to Finch telling a story. Right after the solar flare, everyone was just trying to survive. Finch went into a supermarket and only found some noodles, but then he saw a mother and daughter with a full cart. The girl had a gun, and the mom kept telling her to shoot anyone she saw. Afraid of getting shot, Finch stayed hidden. Then a crazy guy with a shotgun showed up and tried to take their stuff, and the mom tried to fight back. During the struggle, the guy fired a bunch of times, and by the time Finch came out, both the mother and daughter were dead. But he heard a sound from the girl's backpack and found a terrified puppy. That day, Finch adopted Goodyear and swore to protect him no matter what. That's also the day he stopped trusting people. The next morning, Finch rests while Jeff keeps driving. Jeff looks at the postcards and sees the one from San Francisco was actually signed by Dad, not an uncle, and the others are old.
Blank on the back. Suddenly, the computer says the UV levels aren't dangerous anymore, and the RV hits a butterfly. Confused, Jeff stops the truck and wakes up Finch to show him. Shocked, Finch puts his hand out and it doesn't burn. He steps outside and finally gets to enjoy the warmth of the sun again. He's also surprised to find more butterflies and even a flower. Hours later, as they keep moving, they see plants growing everywhere. To celebrate, Finch puts on his best suit and they have a picnic under the sun. Jeff admits that last night he saw them all at the bridge, which makes Finch happy because it means Jeff is dreaming. Then, Jeff asks why he lied about the postcard, so Finch tells him the real story. When he was a kid, his mom told him his dad had Viking blood, and he shows Jeff a picture of a Viking funeral. His father left before he was born because he was an engineer who traveled all over. Finch never heard from him until his 15th birthday when he got that postcard out of nowhere. His dad said he hoped to meet him one day, so Finch bought that fancy suit for the reunion. But he never.
From his dad again, even though he started collecting postcards, Jeff is moved by the story and says they can reach the Golden Gate Bridge in 18 hours if they hurry, but Finch reminds him he's dying and won't make it. After making Jeff promise to take care of Goodyear, Finch throws a ball to show Jeff how to play with the dog. Jeff tries throwing it too, but Goodyear always brings it back to Finch because he still doesn't trust the robot. Suddenly, Finch starts coughing up blood, and when Jeff asks to help, Finch says he already has. They shake hands and share a warm hug. After that, Finch goes into the RV to rest while Goodyear watches over him. Jeff stays out to pack their stuff, but as the sun sets, he hears Goodyear crying and knows Finch is gone. To honor him, Jeff and Goodyear give him a Viking funeral by cremating him in his UV suit. At first, Jeff feels totally lost, but then he remembers his promise to the dog. He feeds Goodyear and plays fetch with him, and for the first time, Goodyear brings the ball back to Jeff. Playing together helps them bond, and Goodyear even hugs Jeff. After that, they hit the road again, determined to finish the trip. When they finally get to San Francisco, Jeff leaves a memorial for Finch and goes to see the Golden Gate Bridge with Goodyear. He's blown away by how beautiful it is, but he's even more surprised by all the messages people left for their loved ones. Seeing there are other survivors, Jeff tells Goodyear they should go find them. He hangs up their postcard with a drawing of them on it and leaves with the dog, ready for a new life. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can catch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.